On Friday, May 8th, Tioga County transitions from red to yellow. Hello everyone and welcome to the Homepage Network. I'm Rhonda Pearson. On today's Tioga County COVID-19 Task Force update, community leaders Jim Nobles, Representative Clint Owlett, Commissioner Eric Coolidge, Mayor Shane Nickerson, Chair of the Township Association Mary House, and Knoxville Borough Councilman Carl Cox discuss Tioga County's transition from red phase to yellow. Jim?
Thank you, Rhonda. With COVID-19 positive cases holding steady in Tioga County, we are now looking ahead to Friday, May 8th, and our transition from red phase to yellow phase. Since last week, when Governor Wolf announced that Tioga County would be one of the 24 counties that may begin reopening, the task force has been hard at work discussing the reopening and recovery of the county. Recovery plans has been the topic of conversation for the past several weeks, and now as we look to transition to yellow on Friday, May 8th, Tioga County is once again looking to lead the charge and be the model county for the Commonwealth. For more on this today, we have a great group of leaders with us: Representative Owlett, Commissioner Coolidge, Blossburg Mayor Shane Nickerson, Knoxville Borough Councilman Carl Cox, and the Chair of the Township Association, Mary House. Thank you, everyone, for being with us today. So, we're just a couple of days away from reopening. Clint, what does transition to yellow really mean for Tioga County?
That's what we're looking for. I think it's going to be helpful for our business community. What they're able to do now is there's a very small list now of businesses that are going to be remaining closed, but it's definitely a phased-in approach. We'll start to see some retail stores opening up, and that's going to be a big deal. We need these folks operating in our community, and I believe they want to do it in a safe way. They've showed us that they are innovative, they're creative, and they're problem solvers, and they believe they can operate in a safe way. So a lot of retail operations are going to be able to be opened up, a lot of businesses. There are still going to be some restrictions where restaurants are still going to be doing takeout only. Indoor recreation as well as hair salons and barbers are still going to be closed. But we're looking for continued guidance on those areas as we move forward, and we can get to those as well as soon as we get to green.
So there's the $64,000 question, Clint. Has there been any discussion at the state level how long a county remains in the yellow phase before they'll be considered to transition to green?
They've been very reluctant to give any specific amount of time that somebody needs to be in yellow. The idea is we really do need to prove ourselves. I think, I'll be honest with you, Jim, I think we've been proving ourselves all along. And I think our county, and honestly, my district, which spans parts of 3 different counties, all the counties here that I get the honor to serve have done a remarkable job of making sure that they're following the guidelines. So I think this just shows that we're one step closer to where we all want to be. And that's I'm not going to say a new normal because people are tired of hearing a new normal. I'm going to say a temporary new normal because that's what it'll be. And that's what's going to be so important. So I wish I had the answer. If I had the answer to that, I'd be a hero. But we don't know that yet. The bottom line is we need to do the best job that we can to make sure that we're showing them that we're taking it seriously, and we're continuing to take it seriously as we have from day one. And every day that we get through yellow and we are continuing to prove ourselves, we're one day closer to green, and that's where we need to be to make sure that we're all out there, enjoying the all aspects of really what I would say the best district in the Commonwealth.
No, absolutely. So, Commissioner Coolidge, that's got to be very rewarding to hear. Clint talk about, we've been setting the pace the entire time for Tioga County. All the hard work and efforts have paid off. Now we're one of the first counties to transition to the yellow phase. What do the residents need to be aware of to ensure we can stay in yellow and then ultimately transition to that green phase that we're all looking forward to?
Well, thank you, Jim. And I think that probably the most important thing is to know that the community is where it is because of their commitment and their willingness to agree with the governor's edicts and directives. But I want them also to know that we've had a constant communication with multiple elected officials expressing that our county has worked very hard, that green shouldn't be that far away from this county. In counties like ours, that the commitment was made and there's need for opening up to the economy. We're going to continue that kind of conversation and suggest that there are elements within the scope of the work we've done that should grant us a little bit of an earlier push to be considered for green. And with that being said, businesses like used car lots or the realtors, or where gatherings don't take place, but their business is needed to open up. So we'll keep that conversation very much alive on behalf of the citizens of this county. And I do know that tomorrow, Senator Toomey is going to promote opening up safely. Now that's a new take or different approach than just opening up. He's going to offer guidelines that maybe, as I'm stating, we should promote our county and communities like ours to go a little early because of our work. He's going to promote how it can be done safely. Maybe the governor will listen to that.
Yeah, great points, great points. So we know that yellow is not the all clear for every business in Tioga County. Shane, from the mayor perspective, what advice can you give some of those businesses that still must remain closed? Some of their colleagues are getting to open up, but they weren't given the all clear yet. What advice do you have for them as both a mayor and a business owner in Tioga County?
Yeah, and Jim, that's it's a hard question, right? Look, here's the thing, is that we have worked so hard in Tioga County, in Blossburg, to fill empty storefronts. I mean, literally from negotiating leases to buildings I don't own, to loaning people money, to everything that we could do to encourage people to come to Blossburg and open a storefront and get our main streets back to where they kind of once were. We've been working for years at this. And then all of a sudden this happens and they have to shut down. And then your neighbor can open up, but the beauty shop can't open up, or the barber shop can't open up. And it's gut-wrenching. A couple hours ago, I met with one of my tenants that is a beauty salon, and she was, she said, "What can I do?" And I said, "All we can do is wait." Here's the thing. Look, all of this stuff, and thank you, Eric and Clint. You guys have been doing a good job at trying to carry our message further. I know that, Eric, I'd hate to see your phone bill. I know you're reaching as far as possible to get this to happen, And look, I want to say that we in Tioga County, we're the best of what politics are, right? All that other stuff goes out the window when we just work for a common goal. And these people that are stuck, for lack of a better term, that are stuck not being able to open, you have got to stay positive. I can say this, you will be able to open again. I promise that. But I can't say when. I wish I could say, look, guys, all we have to do is make it through the next 2 weeks, and then you're able to open. But that'd be giving false hope, right? What we really need to do is move through this yellow phase as safely and as quickly as possible to get the economy all the way open again. That's the only advice really we can do for local businesses. Stay in touch with your customers. Look, Clint's haircut skills are pretty good, but I'm not going to go to him yet. All right. Look, you're still going to be there. We're still going to need haircuts. Right? Shoot your customers a text and say, "Hey, look, Shane, I see you're cutting your own hair. Don't forget about me, buddy." When this lifts, things like that. Reach out to resources, right? If you haven't taken advantage of, we live in the greatest country on this planet that is willing to help a person financially when they're down on their luck. When something like this happens, we move forward, maybe a little sloppy, but we move forward to do everything we can to help each other, right? Take advantage of those resources. Develop Tioga is in Tioga County for a purpose, to help small businesses. So take advantage of, look, use this opportunity to connect. You're going to find more resources there that are going to help you after this is over. I promise you.
Yeah, great answer. I mean, that's so important, that connection phase, that relationship, that working together. That's really what's going to get us through this. You know, Mary, talking about working together, the relationship between the boroughs and the townships, it's so important, all the time. It's even more important during a crisis. So tell us a little bit how the boroughs and township have really pulled together during this challenging time and how they can continue to work together now that we're moving from the red to the yellow phase.
Well, in our association, we have a secretaries group, and we all bounce questions and answers off of each other. And we also include in the secretaries group the boroughs. And we like the differences between what the township versus what the boroughs have to do, because we're two totally different entities with different code books. So we can't all the time do the same things. But it's nice to be able to say, I can text or call Jill or Shane. I can text, Wellsboro to talk to them to bounce things off down in Lawrenceville. And I think, we're doing a really good job of saying, what are you doing? What do you think we could do better? I know for Richmond Township, we had just gotten some masks made for us. So we have told all of our surroundings, we have them. If you need them, let me know. And also our recycling, we did not just make it so it was just Richmond Township. We just asked that everyone had a mask, everyone had gloves this last Saturday, and one card at a time, and our recycler said it worked out great. Everybody adhered to everything that we asked. So, I do believe that if word gets out there, people will listen. There's going to be some that don't, but for the most part, it's good.
This community, whenever they have to rise to a challenge, I can't tell you how impressed I am. Over 25 years in the Navy, lived all over the country, lived in Hawaii for quite a few years. I've never seen an area like this anywhere else in the country. And I've lived on the East Coast, the West Coast, really all over the country. And I've never seen any response like this ever before. The community really pulls together when needed. So with that, we look at leadership. So Carl, you have a lot of different hats you wear. Thank you for all your leadership on the Knoxville Borough Council. But you also have another hat you wear that's very important during this challenging time. You're the chair of the Tioga County 2020 Complete Count Committee. So how are we doing on the census this year?
We're not doing as good as the commissioners and I would like it to be. Last I checked, we were only at 46.1% response. We have some areas that are up in the 60s, near 70. We have one municipality that's still in single digits. So, especially in this time, it's important that we get everybody counted, because any of the federal, state help, the population of the municipality and the county is vital for the formula for how much of that aid we get.
Yeah, very good point. So important to get that census done. I'm sure the mailers went out. You should have received it. Everybody in the county received a mailer. It probably slipped to the bottom of the pile because I know it's a challenging time. Bills are due. People are out of work. But please, let's find a way to dust that off, go in and log in, because that's very important during this challenging time. The county's been closed for a long time. We really have. We've been closed for a long time. We're all looking forward to reopening. Let's talk a little bit about, just giving some advice to our county residents now that we're moving into yellow phase. It's not the all clear. It's not we're going back to how it was, pre-COVID and back to December and early January. Let's talk a little bit about giving some advice to our residents as we move to this yellow phase.
Hey, Jim, if I could. Jim?
Yes, absolutely. Yep, please.
I don't know if you could hear me. That's a great segue into a couple of things that are going on. First and foremost, and before I go there, I want to thank Carl and you, and Roger is on the committee on behalf of the commissioners. And actually, I'm here on behalf of the board, not myself. Whenever we speak as a board. We work together. But the important part of all of this is to know that there are many levels of government that recognize that our county has really been extremely benefited by our low count. And if you were to take and break out the numbers, as they do in New York State, They say how many people have gone through the virus and then come out the other side and are healed. We actually have only 2, maybe 3 active cases. So that 16 is really a 13. Is the 16 represents a total, not those who are active. And that's a plus because people are healing and they're at home. So our experience has been one that we need to talk about. There's value in that when we share that message at the levels of state and federal. Clint's done a great job, but we need to make sure and stay, and as Shane put it, stay positive because our message is being shared every day on what we've done here, and the county deserves to have a break.
So Jim, I would add on to that. Patience is a virtue, right? And we are asking people to continue to be patient, and I get it, Jim. It's hard. It's hard for me to be patient. I'm not a patient person. My wife would be the first one to tell you that. And we've got 1.7 million people in the state of Pennsylvania that are trying to get through the unemployment line, and that system's completely broken. I mean, completely. And I get it. People are mad, frustrated, and that's putting it completely kindly. And it's hard. It's hard. I mean, people are hungry. People are hurting. People's livelihoods, their retirement, everything is in jeopardy. So I realize it's hard to tell people to be patient. That's easy to say. It's incredibly hard to do, and I was told by a contractor when we first started this conversation about contractors, which they're back to work, which is wonderful. And I believe they're doing a great job. They're showing people they can do it in a safe way. But I had a contractor that I was talking to, and he told me, he said, Clint, his story and why he can't work, and he was so frustrated. And I said, I understand. I'm a contractor too, and I was a contractor before I ran for office. So I said, I understand where you're coming from. And he was right when he said, no, you don't. He said, you don't know because you're getting paid. And he said, and I can't figure out how to put food on my table. And I can't figure out how to get through this unemployment line. So you don't know. And you know what, Jim, he was right. So, and here I am asking somebody to be patient, but that's all we can do. I don't know what else to do. We in our office, we try every day to help people through situations and help them through the bureaucracy of state government right now. But there's little that we can do other than asking people to be patient, continue to help us get to green. Once we get to that point, then they can work, we can open up fully, and we can get back to this temporary normal. And that's what my message would be to the community is, here I am trying to say I understand. Shane's at the edge of his seat. He's getting uncomfortable. But I don't know what else to do other than to ask people to be patient and help us get there as soon as we can.
Yeah, thanks, Clinton. Thanks for your sincerity there. There's not too many politicians out there, and I really don't consider you a politician. I want you to know that.
Public servant.
There you go. That's right. But I want to say, look, what Clint said is terribly important. And I want to remind everybody that we can get through this. You've been through hard. I don't care what human being is watching this or out there. We all go through hard times in our life. We do. And the thing is that if we're smart about it and we're wise about it, we come out better on the other side. Someone told me a long time ago, suffering's the price you pay for serenity. And it's true. If we look at this and try to learn lessons from this and take something to the other side of this, the best parts of us, not the worst part of us, not the worst part of us that's griping about wearing a mask or are upset and all that. Look, I understand, I really do. It's frustrating. It's hard. It's our whole lives have been turned upside down, right? But I said it earlier in a meeting to Jim, look, we got a bad deal here. We did. But it's the only deal we have. So we have to take the deal we have and move forward. and we can get through this. We will get through this. And I believe if we're intelligent about it, we're going to come out better on the other side. I really believe that. And it's going to be hard. Like I said before, the greatest generation wasn't great because things were great. It's because they went through the Great Depression. They fought through World War II, came out on the other side, and the country prospered. And they had a service to community and a service to each other that our generation, unfortunately, doesn't understand because we haven't gone through something difficult. You know, if we let this happen, you know, for us and not to us, it's going to be incredible. You know, I add some, it's difficult when people feel helpless, right? And every one of us in this conversation and everyone on the planet has felt helpless in their life. I certainly have, you know, but here's the trick. If you don't want to feel helpless, help other people. It's impossible to feel helpless when you're helping. Try that. It'll change your life, I promise.
Yeah, so you kind of hit the nail on the head there, Shane. You know, and again, thank you for your sincerity as well. So this county, just like so many other counties in the state, you know, other states throughout our nation, it's been seriously affected. It's been seriously affected by this disease. It's been seriously affected by this shutdown. Many of the things that we look forward to as we move into spring and move into summer, there's a lot of things we look forward to. They're not going to happen this year. So you hit the nail on the head. Let's talk a little bit about that positive attitude. How can we shift our focus and look ahead maybe to the end of the summer or even coming back next year? We talked a little bit before the coal festival. Had to be a tough decision to say, hey, we're not going to do that. That's, you know, that's it. You know, we talked about the hot dog eating contest. I love coming out there right on one of our health centers, and we sit there and watch everybody eat the hot dogs. You know, how are we going to shift that focus so we can look ahead to either later on in the summer or even next year?
Yeah, right. And that's what we were talking about earlier today, is that, like, it's heartbreaking to think that we're not going to have the coal festival. For Blossburg, that's a big deal. A lot of people come to our town because of the coal festival, right? And we had to cancel it already. And it's tough. But next year, the coal festival is going to be even better because we're going to appreciate it that much more. And if this thing, we can't have the fall festival, and we don't have the hot dog eating contest till next year, Commissioner Coolidge and Clint Outlet will be in it, and it'll be incredible.
Well, that's
this is breaking. You heard it here. This is breaking news. So I'm sure they've already filled out their applications. Commissioner, representative, I'll be out in the audience. I'll see you up there on the flatbed. I'll be there. You can rest assured I will have my camera.
I didn't see that coming. Hey,
all I have to say is payback, Shane. Payback.
I want to say something. Early in this conversation, there was a comment made, Mary, that how you work so well with the townships and boroughs. And I think that's a true asset of our community, and the government's seeing a need and then everybody coming together. And we have a little activity going on in regard to maybe being able to do something about taxes going forward, working together. And that's something we'll talk about later at another meeting. But I think it's important to hear what she said about the collaborations and learning from each other.
So here's the deal. I can't think of a better group of people than the people in Tioga County that are going to work together in recovery. My message is going to start changing, and it started today in a video that I did. But I want everybody to know, and I believe this whole group, everybody, and it's way more than just this group. We are so committed to recovery and getting through this and getting everybody back on track. That is like my number one goal from here on out. Like, whatever it takes, we've rolled up our sleeves. We're all in. If we got to figure it out, and we'll get there. And it took us. You're right, Shane. We're taking it off the chin on our main streets and our small businesses. We have for the last 8 weeks, and it's been bad. But I can't think of a better group to work with to get us back to where we need to be in a safe way. Man, the creative ideas that I hear coming out of this group and all the other groups that I'm working with, you know, there's a lot of cool stuff that we can do. It's going to be different. It's going to be innovative, and sometimes change is tough, but it can be done, and it can be done in a good way. So I'm excited about it. I mean, I'm excited to get going. I'm chomping at the bit, man. It's like, the caucus meeting I was in today, we were talking about it, and it's like, it's a powder keg out there, man. It's ready. They're ready to go. Like, it's like trying to hold back a Mustang that's like chomping at the bit at the race line. But I think once it's time to go, man, this group is going to be full tilt.
Yeah, I want to say, Clinton, I've been watching your messages, and your thank you, I think it was yesterday or the day before, was to all the people that have supported you, written you letters, or a gentleman called to pray with you, and all that stuff. I just want to share something real quick, is that people have been sending us letters, and notes. And this woman sent a letter and talked about how she gave her 10-year-old, I think it was nephew, $100. And explained to him that he wanted to, she wanted him to spend 50 on something locally, to spend it locally, and then she explained to him the importance of keeping the economy going with that $50. But then the other 50 out of the 100, she wanted to give it to him to give it to some charity that would help with the coronavirus, and he chose our food pantry, because his family has had to go through the food pantry, and it helped him. So this is what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
I mean, anybody who doesn't feel that in their heart, when they read a message like that, this is the stories that I'm talking about, that's going, that young man that's 10 years old is going to learn such a valuable lesson from this. That's going to be the next greatest generation if we do this correctly. We need to champion those kind of peoples, look, if we turn on the news, it's always going to be the Democrats did this or the Republicans did this today, and it's going to just divide us, right? But if we keep giving out the messages, the real messages, the important ones, by the way, of hope and compassion, man, we're going to get through this thing in spades.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, this is a county, as everybody said, they pull together. They'll rise to any challenge, no matter what the adversity put in front of them. And I'm very confident. You've heard me say it before. Community means everyone. We're going to pull through this together. So I'm very confident we're going to weather this storm. But it's sometimes hard to keep a positive attitude when those chips are down. As you said, the young family having to go to the food pantry. Let's talk a little bit about different techniques we have. Mary, what do you do to stay positive during this time? And what can you tell some of the viewers, how can they just look ahead and stay positive when the times are this tough?
Well, I really have to give a shout out to Jill and Shane, because honestly, like, they pumped me up, and then I'm on my Facebook page and I'm trying to pump up everybody else. So I want to say a big thank you to them, because without them, I may not do it. But, my husband and I have been in the same situations as he owns a sawmill. So we are in this. And, I work for a township and I'm still getting paid, but there's a lot that aren't. And we're just trying to listen. And if anybody needs anything, we're here.
Yeah, what are some other techniques we do? Clint, what do you try and do to try and get through these hard times? Do you have any techniques or different things you can tell our viewers today?
Yeah, so it's no surprise. I've been very adamant about my faith. So my faith has been very important to me, and that obviously I find encouragement from God's word in the morning every day, and I see my kids growing in that. So that encourages me even in the hard times. I will say I get a lot of emails and contact page, submissions, and I look at them all. I really do. And my staff and we all work together to respond, but I read them all. And I would say it's been very encouraging, because I've really had a lot of people giving me encouragement. So I think that helps. Just today, I'll give you an example. A gentleman emailed me from overseas, and he's following how we're doing in Tioga County. He has family here. He's going to retire here in a few years, and he serves in the military. And it was it was probably one of the most encouraging emails I've read in a long time. I actually shared it with my whole staff, and I said, everybody read this, because, you know, sometimes, I mean, I get it. You know, we get beat up. We're the state government. When people see the failed unemployment system, they see me, you know, so I get it. We take that beating, and we will. It's out of our control, but we're doing everything we can. But so when you get an encouraging email like that, I tend to just take a few extra minutes and read every word and really let it sink in. He was just so excited that we're doing everything we can to help our small businesses, and he wants to be a part of it someday. And that was real encouraging. So I think taking some extra time to really let that stuff sink in has also been helpful for me.
Yeah, very important. So Commissioner, you and I had a conversation about a week ago. You know, the faith in this community. There's a lot of great churches we have all through Tioga County. It's got to be really challenging now that the churches can't get back together. I know that was something we were looking for some guidance on from the governor's office. We thought maybe there'd be a limited capacity. So continuing that direction with the online churches and stuff. So Commissioner Coolidge, what recommendations do you have for coping with this stress, especially in the times when people are anxious to get back together and pray together? What advice can we give them?
Well, we did receive communication from a number of clergy asking what were my thoughts. I said, I have no jurisdiction over giving you permission, but what I will tell you is your choice is what is important to your parishioners. They indicated that they already had a plan. They were going to shake hands. They were going to use social distancing. They were going to mask, but they wanted to be in the presence of their church. And I said, that's going to be a call you're going to make, but the opening from red to yellow is on the 8th. It's Mother's Day weekend. Good judgment, good practices should allow you to make that decision from a good position. And that's the difference between living here in an area where we've been able to move about, other than a metropolitan area where you're restricted to your home in a dramatic way. So we do have some blessings in that regard. And people are making conscious decisions on how they do gather, and that action is in the best interest of those they're with. So I think there could be some understanding. I do know that other regions have asked for that permission. Good judgment is what I would say. And if they want to be in their church, again, that's their call.
Yeah, great advice. So, Carl, one of the challenges up your neck of the woods, up in the valley, up in all those townships and boroughs up along the New York State border, they're pretty spread out. They're pretty diverse, spanning the whole length of the county, and they don't have the population density or the retail density up there. How are your residents up in the Knoxville and the whole valley area coping with this, and what words of encouragement can you give them?
Right now, I don't know of anybody that's not doing without anything. I've made myself available to go on shopping trips for anybody. Also to your task force, if you need something moved from one place to another or delivered, I've made myself available there. One thing I would like to say is that we need to be diligent. We're going into the yellow phase. That doesn't mean we're out of the woods. We need to keep masking. We need to keep social distancing. And the commissioners, council members, mayors, township supervisors, we need to lead by example. Cover your face when you're going to be in a crowd. Have a couple extra masks. If you come across somebody that doesn't have a mask, offer them a mask. You never know. They may not have had the opportunity to get a hold of one. But we need to be diligent and help each other.
Yeah, great advice, great recommendations. So as we close out this broadcast, let's just kind of go around and just give some parting thoughts as we make this transition. We're moving from red to yellow. The county worked very hard at this. Let's just go around and give some parting thoughts to the viewers as we make that transition and look forward to Friday's yellow phase and then a green phase somewhere in the near future, hopefully.
Well, Jim, I appreciate it, and I appreciate everybody taking the time. I know this was probably a little bit longer of a broadcast, but I want everybody to know I'm as committed as you're ever going to find. I'm on my way home from Harrisburg right now, and I wanted to pull over and make sure I was part of this conversation because it's so important to let everybody know that we're here, we're working for you, we're doing everything we can to approach this in a balanced, common sense way. And that keeps everybody safe, and that's the goal through this process, and gets us to a place that's healthy for everyone. I would say that if there's anything that we can do in our office, please reach out. We're here to serve as in however we can. We'll do whatever possible to help folks through this, and we're committed as you're ever going to find in the recovery process.
Perfect. Thank you. Commissioner, closing thoughts for the audience?
Yes, thank you very much for the chance to be a part of the conversation tonight. I also would echo what Clint has said. We're in this for the long haul in supporting your interest, and the outcome is that we are opened up. And one final comment to every legislator that represents us, there has been a communication shared that our county is prepared and ready to move forward. And those conversations happen every day. So you're not without being heard as a public, and you are being represented by Clint, by this Board of Commissioners, the boroughs, township, and every legislator from the state to the federal level. We'll keep that message going every day.
Perfect. Thank you, Commissioner. Shane.
Yeah. So a long time ago, someone asked me this question. They said, what's the difference between a hero and a coward? And I said, well, a coward is afraid and a hero isn't. He said, no, they're exactly the same. They're both human beings. He said they have the same emotions. We all have the same emotions. The difference is the coward gets afraid and does nothing. And the hero is terrified but moves forward and keeps going. And that's such a positive message that has changed the way that I've seen my life. The other thing was somebody had a hard conversation with me one day and said, aren't you tired of being a victim? And I was like, what do you mean? I'm not a victim. They said, no, then why are you griping so much? They didn't use that exact language with me. But they said, look, life happens to everybody. And you can choose the way you can react to it. It can happen for you, and you can learn from things, or it can happen to you, and you can be a victim. Now, what would you like to do with this situation? Do you want to just take a quick shower and move on, or do you want to soak in a bath of it? And I said, well, I want to move on. He said, okay, you have the opportunity to choose joy in your life. You can have joy in your life. You can have that. Again, we're going to get through this, I promise. We have every scientist on the planet working on this thing. You know, the world has faced hard times before, and we're going to get through this. And I really believe, I'm not giving up hope, man. We're going to get through this better. I know, I'll tell you this. I know I'm going to come out better. I'm going to come out. I might lose money during this thing. That's for sure. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be better on the other side. My daughter made me a ham dinner last night, everybody. You know how awesome that is?
You can't complain about that. You can't complain about a ham dinner. No, that's alwa's great. Yeah, tell me you're making me a ham
ate
dinner.
at Arby's last night, just so everybody knows. It's like a ghost town down there.
Yeah, hey, everybody, stop looking back. We're not going that way. We're moving forward, people.
No, I love it. Mary, what do you want to close out with? What can you tell everybody in the townships in that area, Mary?
That, we are in this together, but enjoy this downtime. I am the one, we were running from sport to sport to sport, but I tell you what, I have cherished this time that I've been able to spend at home with my children, being able to work from home, and thanks to my supervisors for allowing that, first off, and, enjoy it. God has a plan.
No, well stated. Yep, always look on the positive side. Yep. Carl?
I'm on the opposite side. I haven't had much contact with my kids because they're all grown up and on their own and hunkering down in their own abodes. But I've grown more fond of my wife these past few weeks, getting a lot of work done around the house, and want everybody to stay diligent, and we will come out of this better than we went into it.
Yeah, well stated. And I want to thank everybody for being with us today. As Clint said, it might be a little bit longer broadcast than we normally do. It's very encouraging to have such dedicated leaders helping us navigate these uncharted waters. And that's exactly what they are. They're uncharted waters. We've never been here before. Global pandemic, shutting down the economy. But as the task force has always said, community means everyone. And here in Tioga County, we pulled together. We hunkered down. We got through the red phase. We're going to be in the yellow phase on Friday. But we're not done yet. I'm confident we can count on everyone to continue to follow the Department of Health recommendations, the social distancing, the masking when in public. We want to stay in this yellow phase and diligently move to green, but we have to follow those health recommendations. The light at the end of the tunnel, it's really starting to show now, but we still need your help, again, when we move to that red to yellow and ultimately green. So starting Friday, observe social distancing when away from home. Stay masked when you're around other people, stay healthy, and wash your hands.
The Mansfield Laurel Health Center is now accepting patients in the state-of-the-art Susquehanna Health Medical Plaza at Mansfield. In the same facility, Susquehanna Health is offering physical and aquatic therapy, imaging, laboratory, cardiology, and sports medicine services. For more than 40 years, our 6 Laurel Health Centers have provided high-quality, compassionate care to the residents of Tioga County, offering family-based primary care services, obstetrics, pediatrics, preventive screenings, and diabetes education, as well as outpatient counseling and therapy services. Our passion is to provide comprehensive health care to all who need it with dignity and respect.